are already funny.
I guess there's like a little bar going across the screen and it's setting up my YouTube live. So this is a thrill.
Yeah. And you know what I like more even than a Zoom meeting or a YouTube live streaming event? I like the tech guy narrating everything that happens. It's my favorite part of the internet experience is if I could have a guy who should be wearing glasses, even with like fake lenses in them, just so he can do this while he's telling me what he's doing. we just like, Mike, actually, it's not called a Zoom meeting, it's called a webinar. Actually, it's a webinar, and there's
little known fact: the best boy is not, in fact, the best boy. So.
Yes, I know. The best boy on every show I was ever on was never the best.
Right.
He was a boy. It was good. So there you go. Anyway, so I guess we should start the show. We're going to be live streaming. Hey, Ned.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be live streaming through the first 5 comics, and you're number 5 on the list. Are you okay with being live streamed on YouTube?
Yes.
I wish I'd let you know a little sooner so you could have notified your enormous fan base, because
I would have done something with my hair.
That would have. Well, go get it now.
Oh shit!
Ding!
Bam, 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 bam. Finger pistols. Moonwalks out of frame. All right. So,
I love when the finger pistols come out.
Beg your pardon?
I love when the finger pistols come out. It's always going to be a good show.
Finger pistols trigger me.
That's a trick. I'm just giving you a trigger warning. I'm going to be using finger pistols.
It took me 3 tries, but I got it in.
Yeah,
comedy cowboys and cowgirls, welcome to the Open Mic Comedy Show.
My announcer, Chuck Roy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Langworthy, your host and resident old man, as it seems.
I'm right on your tail, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Don't even go.
No, I'm not. I mean, it writes.
Go there.
Itself.
I live there.
It writes itself. It has to.
Why are we paying you?
I've seen some of your work, so it has to. Hey, come on. That's unkind. It's unkind. There's no call for that. The new comics are going, oh my God, he's an asshole.
Cruel as the new kind.
I'm a stand-up comic and I'm a grumpy old man, apparently. That's what people say. You know, they say, oh, in fact, when I started at the improv way back in the olden days, I came off stage one night and overheard a comic that was in the room waiting to go on go, funny jokes, angry guy, very angry guy.
And that was Larry David. Can you imagine?
Yeah, give the audience a break. David.
Cheer him up.
Oh man, I saw him come down I never saw him do a complete set, by the way.
He never did.
I don't know if he did someplace or at some point in his career.
Mike, when he was pitching Seinfeld, he walked out in the middle of it. That's how.
Yeah, I know.
How much integrity he has.
He walked out of a meeting with Taylor Hackford.
Mm-hmm.
They had his production company had optioned a screenplay that Larry wrote, and he says, "I think this is just great story." And you know, I can think of a couple of little tweaks that we could do it, and almost we're ready to shoot it. And he says, "Tweaks."
Fuck you.
He just gets up and leaves.
Epic.
Hey, you know, and that never pays off in show business.
No.
His $600 million net worth testifies to, and it's probably more than that. God damn it! I hate him so much. Anyway, he's a personal friend. And so, welcome to the show. You're not going to get this on your typical open mic.
This is all great.
Because not everybody's been to the show. Sure, I was a utility infielder, but still, they needed me during the playoffs. I played
You
a
were
role.
the Rex Hudler of the group.
Hey, speaking of that, another thing that happened to me was when I was living in LA, back in the olden days when you had to copy things at a copy store,
Oh, yeah.
instead of everybody having a printer on their desk,
These
I went to
kids.
this copy store, and the guy in front of me had a World Series ring on.
Ooh.
And it's the only time I've ever seen anything like that. It was a World Series ring. They're enormous, they're ugly, but it's, evidence of one of the greatest achievements in sports. So he's got there, and he's getting a bunch of adult softball league schedules copied so he can distribute them out to the team captains, because he is now, with his World Series ring, the assistant Parks and Recreations director for Burbank, California.
Oh,
Yeah, the guy who makes the copy.
Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy that the actual guy who organized the lead says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
But-
just a reminder, always hit the cutoff man, because
Yes.
this can happen to you too.
Yeah. Tough, because he was the catcher for the bullpen. So hitting the cutoff man was a long throw for him.
No, it seemed foolish at the time.
Yeah, it did. But never, you know what? Let's not even get into that, because I didn't come here to talk baseball. Why? Where do I usually go? I go where other people go to be insulted. That's
I
where
came here to be
talk
insulted. Let's get started.
baseball. All right. Anyway, still going to do the insulted joke later in the show. I'm letting everybody know now.
Yay.
You always do.
All right. So anyway, I'm Mike Langworthy. And I live in Denver now. I'm an OG comic and television writer for a long time. Kind of award-winning. I was kind of a big deal.
Golden Globes.
And now I'm here to support my daughter in the work that she does with a group that we'll be talking about later in the show. I think, Chuck, at this point, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you as show announcer / sort of kind of co-host.
Hi.
Highlight some of our guest comedians this evening. Just let people know a few of the people who are going to be on the bill.
Oh, wow. Coming up, going to be James Longshore. Emily Cornelius is here, very popular on the Apocalypse Comedy
She's
Show.
very
David
popular.
Germain is here.
David-
I don't think that's relevant.
Ginny, I want to say it's Sykes, but
Got
I'm
it
guessing
right.
Sickies. No,
Oh.
Sykes.
Sykes.
Okay.
Sykes.
Sorry.
Craig Abramson, Evan Smith will close out the show. So a ton of great comedy ahead. So I think we've got.
I don't think I heard my name.
No, we,
So Ned Rice is gonna.
This is how you find out. This is how I find out.
yeah. I always found out with a little banker's box on front of my office.
Ned Rice, a popular favorite here on the
Langworthy.
Uh,
Chuck Lorre said, Langworthy, come in here, bring your playbook.
right.
Also,
So
a sports-themed evening, ladies and
But
gentlemen.
it's a show.
Ned,
Show, we have jokes. Oh my God. I can't wait till we can do live shows, because I want to open with a bit like where I just walk back and forth on stage and say, what the fuck am I doing here? I don't like to talk about myself at all. I don't like people looking at me. And I'm a stand-up comic.
That's why I went into comedy.
It's that's
Correct.
really not why you went into comedy, Ned. That's why you went into the comedy the way you went into comedy.
I want to
good.
be alone, so I'm a comedian.
I want to get all my social interaction one way, but only for a half hour a day. Yeah.
I like the
Actually,
sound of absolute silence.
I got a fortune once in a Chinese restaurant, because this is how I noticed that the Asian people do not like white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. My fortune cookie actually said, "You'll die alone."
Did it say Yule or you? You die alone.
It said, "You will die alone." Why?
Okay.
Because it wasn't a racist company that made it.
How
Okay,
about
well,
a
there's
Christmas
no Yule.
Yule? Could it have been a Christmas Yule? Like
It could have been. It
This
could have been, but it
Christmas,
wasn't.
you'll
It
die
was
alone.
"You will." 2 words. You will, spelled correctly.
At least it didn't say Arone.
This Christmas.
James Longshore.
That's me.
You die alone.
James Longshore is here this evening. He's been here before. He's a funny guy, actually, and that should be lovely for our first performer. So we get off to a nice start.
Hooray.
And please welcome. Yeah, welcome him. And later
welcome in. Welcome in.
All right. Thanks very much, you guys.
Thanks.
Longshore.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Actually, I just zoomed in from Philadelphia, and boy, are my jokes tired.
Good night.
Mike, if I had a mic, I'd drop it. Thanks for having me again. I had a great time last week, and I had to come back. Also, I'm a little jealous of Mike's compliment to Blake on his time. So let's get started. I am from New York City, but I live in the capital of Romania, Bucharest, or as my family calls it, Budapest. And I'm like, no, it's Bucharest. And they're like, oh, right, that's in Bulgaria. And I'm like, no, Romania. So my aunt and uncle, get this, my aunt and uncle, they pull out a map and they look at the map and they look at me and they look at the map and they look at me and they say, whatever you do, James, be careful because Romania is very close to Iraq. True story. I don't blame them because the US is bigger than Romania. So like Romania to Iraq is like New York to Alabama. And exactly, Chuck. I don't know which one is scarier. They've both got those religious zombies who don't want to eat your brains. They want to wash your brains. And wait, like my fellow Americans' knowledge of geography just astounds me. Actually, I was in Amsterdam on the terrace of this restaurant, really hungry for some reason. And it was called Amigo, and it was an Argentine steakhouse called Amigo. And this like loud, obnoxious female, like American girl, like a female version of me, let's say.
Yeah.
She comes walking by and she's like, Amigo? Well, that doesn't sound very Argentinian. That sounds Mexican.
Oh, no.
Yes.
I don't care how stoned you are. Like, that's just stupid.
Karen.
I'm guilty too. I suck at geometry. Geography.
English.
In school, I used to mix those up, actually. You know, it'd be like, what's the capital of Greece? Isosceles. So I moved to Bucharest when my beautiful Romanian wife mail ordered me.
See what he did there,
great.
folks?
She's great. I'll tell you a little about her. Her name is Bianca, and she doesn't love me unconditionally, but at least she lets me know what the conditions are.
Been married too long not to laugh at that.
Thank you. Mike gets me. That's why I'm here. And they took her temperature at the store last week, and they were like 36.1. That's your temperature is perfect. And I'm like, that's weird because she's hot.
Oh no.
I admire my wife. She is everything that I wanted to be when I was growing up. Tall, dark, and handsome. She is actually making most of the money in the family. And so that leaves me free to go after my dreams, practice stand-up comedy. And that's not because I have white privilege. It's because I have wife privilege. She is a screenwriter, a successful screenwriter. She's writing 2 TV shows and a movie. And I want to be that one day too. And so living with her is kind of like having an unpaid internship. It's like, I hope to get somewhere someday, but for now I'm stuck making the coffee.
And the boss.
I think that is my time.
Yeah, right in there.
And I want it to be perfect. So I'm just going to say back to you, Mike. Thank you. You guys have been great. I'm looking forward to the rest of the show.
Oh, James, all the way from the Middle East.
From the heart of China. Oh my gosh. That was
India,
funny.
where the drugs are cheap and so are the women.
Ah.
A lovely, lovely place. I like Romania, and it's the unsung romance language, Romanian. I don't know if anybody knows that besides me, but
Romanian sounds a lot like English.
Mike, go back to talking sports.
I beg your pardon?
Go back to talking sports. That's the only thing I can deal with.
Okay. Yeah. Michigan's not going to have a season this year.
Thanks for bringing that down.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm punching the whole show down tonight. That's my goal. That's what I'm looking for. I'd love to stay on stage and bore the shit out of everybody indefinitely, but actually, I think I will. No, I'm not. Our next performer is new. There's only one person besides me who even knows her name, really. I mean, we've introduced her to everybody before the show, but so I guess that's just bullshit what I'm saying. It's just a lie. I'm just lying. Anyway, Ned Rice, who's a very funny comedian, and please don't judge him by tonight. He hasn't been well. And he's got a good friend named Jenny Sykes. She's going to perform for us tonight. This is her first time on the show.
Yay.
I'm loving the hair, and I hope you have a lovely time. Jenny Sykes.
Yay!
Wow. It's so good to see faces.
Nice.
I'm sick of being ignored. I'm sorry. Right before quarantine, I'm in LA, so we have serious quarantine. I wanted to take my aunt to Costco, and she wouldn't pick up the phone. I texted her, nothing. So I went over there, and she was dead, which was such a relief.
Oh, Lord.
I thought she ghosted me.
That was good.
Well, I went to Costco anyway because I still have a life. So I'm there battling for essentials, toilet paper, and the 6-pound tub of Nutella. And I whip around and I see mounted on the wall coffins. And there's even a pink coffin in the exact shade of my dead aunt's bathroom where I found her. She would love that. Costco sells coffins in bulk. I don't really need 6 caskets, but it is such a hassle getting here and the parking sucks. Do I know anybody else who, this could be the only time in history that someone's going to buy a coffin on impulse.
Right, that is not a buy.
You're in the checkout line, you're hoarding for the next 10 years, and you look up and you see them and you're like, well, that could save us time later. So I'm about to shout out, hey, anybody want to go in on a 6-pack of caskets? That's tacky. So instead, I call my Uncle Joe. Hey, Uncle Joe, it's me. I'm at Costco. No, they don't have any wipes. No sanitizer. They have nothing. Actually, I was calling to check on you. How's your prostate cancer? What stage are you in?
Oh, no.
Well, that's not going to help. But sometimes when the Lord closes the door, he opens a window to Amazon. Turns out you can order a coffin online. And as a Prime member, I get overnight delivery. If you don't answer the door, I guess they just leave it in your yard. But that's not the weird thing. The weird thing is there are reviews on Amazon. What good is a review by someone who clearly hasn't used the product?
Well put.
And think about it. What kind of a ghoul, the moment their dead loved one's in the ground, hops online to post a review, along with a picture of the potato salad he ate at the wake? And even if the dead could post a review, what would that say? 3 stars. Lots of legroom, but low ceiling. Right. You guys, you gotta check out the site. They actually have stuff like model names. There's Twilight, Mother's Casket. There's even a do-it-yourself kit called Plain Pine Box. Such creative marketing. But then Amazon markets death just like everything else on the site. They actually say things like 20% off Mother's Casket if you order now. Order now? That's pressure. Like you're gonna speed things up to get the discount? How would that play out? Sorry, Mom, but you always love to bargain. It's pillow time. Honey, I think she's gone. Order now. That's my time. I'm Jenny Sykes, and please check out my Dead Aunt's Coffin review at Amazon.com.
Thank you very much, Jenny Sykes.
Yeah.
Very good,
Jenny
Jenny.
Sykes, hey, she died and she killed.
Oh.
And she brought all new meaning to the term Yelp. So Jenny Sykes, welcome. Please come back often, and
Good luck.
or come back coughing.
Yay, yay.
However you want to do it. It's all up to you. Still love the hair. Now I love the jokes and the hair. It's great. Unbelievable. Once again, I'm introducing someone that I do not know personally, but he's a very responsible comedian. His name is spelled in a somewhat unusual way, and he let me know how to pronounce it in advance. So I'm really happy about that. Hey, you know what? I'm skipping the wrong guy. Ed, you're not next. It's
Okay.
somebody I do know. It has a great name. He has a great name. His name is Norman Royal. You're gonna love him. Please welcome. I'm not saying the other guy's name isn't great too, but Norman Royal. Come on, I like that. You should marry somebody named Megan who's mixed race if you have a name like that. Anyway, let's go with Norman Royal. Knock us down.
Anyways, my dad was a simple man, a stern man, very strong man. But he was also a man that told me old Disney movies were bullshit. After all, knowing what he said, or knowing what he had known and said to me, after all, look at what I married. Because of such joyful pleasures of life, I never got to enjoy the wonders of life. My dad used to also love pulling pranks on everyone, especially my mom more than anyone. He loved pulling the prank on her because apparently they had a fight the next day, so they had to repeat the rerun. So one day my dad wakes up and he makes coffee, and he's waiting for my mom to get up. During this time, he sits down to watch his news, and he doesn't really watch it, more or less just yells at it like it was Super Bowl Sunday. My dad also drink his coffee black, which was almost like living in the Depression. Did know there was sugar or milk. What the fuck that.
He's always ready for a downturn.
I get up, and I know I will walk into the room. I notice his cup sitting there, and I thought, in my adolescent mind, it's soda. I ask, can I take a sip? He goes, sure, and hands me the cup. I take the sip and notice it was a bit thick. Yeah, my dad looked at me and smiled in his response, saying, you know you just drank your brothers and sisters, right?
Oh God.
Jeez.
Oh my.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
No.
Yikes.
Yeah. An
I thought
open
it
mic now,
tasted-
everybody.
Oh. Wide open mic. Wow.
I thought it tasted a bit bland. My mother, however, gets up, and at that moment she heard it, and in her response and retaliate, she states, what a waste.
Woo.
Thank
A
God we
little
do
bit
charity
about me.
events, huh?
Lord have mercy.
Praise
If
the
there's
Lord,
ever
when
been a
you-
cause,
He told that joke for the children.
if anybody knows me, they know that I can't stand fucking V-necks. The most ugliest goddamn piece of material that was ever made. I mean, who came up with that? A three-dimensional triangle to shape. Go ahead, put it up right in the collar. The only thing I can imagine that somebody be walking and saying, this looks good. No, actually, it looked like you got a vagina on your neck. Next to nothing. Walking down the street, can you imagine just seeing them trying to finger that shit? It's feeling a bit tight.
Ooh. Ooh.
I know that one's a bit stiff. Don't worry, it gets better.
Just like the coffee.
That's what an open mic is for, Norman. Go for it.
That's the spot.
Ultimately, I look at a V-neck as if I can imagine a thick, sweaty, hairy Italian dude with that real thick, hairy bush and a V-neck. It's like a thong on the beach. Some things just ain't meant to be.
Yeah.
I believe that's my time, everybody.
Yeah, Norman.
Come
Woo!
again.
Norman, Pollyanna Royal. Hey, sunshine.
It's polyamor.
Oh, I am.
That was great, Norman.
Oh no,
Thank
that-
you.
I mean,
Good
I'm
share.
glad I did it.
you're not gonna hear bits like that coming out of everybody's mouth today.
Not anymore. Jeez.
Is that really how you want to phrase that?
I phrased that just about exactly the way I wanted to phrase it, to be honest with you. And I was gonna cap it with you might see my lunch coming out of my mouth, but it won't. You won't hear that joke. Anyway, neither here nor there. This is the guy whose name I was. Oh, who cares? I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I just want to crawl under a rock and die.
After the show.
Thanks, Ned.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate it. And if I do, Jenny, I think you know where I'm headed with this. You probably
Not
got a couple
a
extras lying around. If you could just ship it to the Widder Langworthy, Parker, Colorado, I'd really appreciate it. At any rate, while we're having a good time here, which I just interrupted briefly, let's bring on our next performer, someone I expect to learn a lot about and in the next 5 minutes. And I hope that you guys will all give him a warm round of applause. Ed Smythe.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. What a nice host. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Ed.
Well, let's get started. First of all, it's time now for the creaky door that loved to whine. Yes, the creaky door that loved to whine. And now it's time for Brown versus the Board of Education, as performed by Godzilla versus Rodan. Well, I think you know how it turned out. Now,
I love the topical stuff.
now it's time for an Amber Alert. Hey, look out for that fossilized tree resin. Now that we have a chance to warm up, I'd like to show you my belly button ring. Thank you. And now it's time for Arthur, the vegan pervert. Oh, I like to go to farmers markets and mentally undress vegetables. Oh, look at that cucumber. I'd sure like to peel a few of those back. Oh, look at those hot tomatoes. I bet they're heirlooms. Oh, look at those snow peas over there. I sure would like to pop a few of those pods. Yes, Arthur, the vegan pervert. Well, now it's time for The Dow presents. The Dow now presents the sound of one hand clapping. Thank you. And now The Dow presents the sound of one man slipping into a bowl of pudding. Now, the Dow presents the sound of one cat inside a Schrodinger's box. Thank you. And that was the Dow presents.
Great.
And now it's time for Vinny, the pizza shop guy with a severe dough allergy. La, 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 la. Well, poor Vinny, I think he had to go into the dairy business after that. Well, now I'd like to take a little moment to be a little sentimental if I can and show you my little pumpkin. Hi, little pumpkin. That wasn't that nice. And now it's time for the New York Museum of Modern Art presents Mamma Mia, the museum musical.
Mamma mia.
I'm such an abstract sculpture in shades of gray and red, a mailbox for my body and a plastic banana for my head. Yes, Mamma Mia. Well, that's it for this portion of our show. And now back to our host. Thank you.
Ed Smythe, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Smythe. I would slow clap you into the middle of next week with that stuff, man. I couldn't have thought of any of it. And that's something I don't say very often. Under no, so you could have given me, I would be like the monkeys in the room trying to write Shakespeare. Give me an infinite amount of time and I still wouldn't be able to do it. So congratulations. Really liked it. Hey, Ed, are you still there?
Yes.
Where are you coming in from?
Oh, upstate New York.
All right, great. We've got people from all over tonight. Upstate New York,
Yeah.
Ann Arbor, Los Angeles, We have
Representing.
audience from Texas, audience from Missouri. We've got a guy in Romania, which is right next to Kazakhstan.
Romania actually doubled for Kazakhstan in the Barat movie. Fun fact.
Did it? Did it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a
Interesting.
okay. No, well,
We learn. We learn.
Stand up.
you just laugh, you learn at the open mic. That's what I like to say. And today we're learning that Romania, if it looks as much like Kazakhstan as you say, maybe your parents weren't so far off. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Iraq or Kazakhstan if you dropped me in the middle of either one of them. Well, I would. In Iraq, guys would be shooting at me to collect Russian bounties, whereas in Kazakhstan, they would just be asking me a ride to Moscow so they could live 12 in an apartment and do drywall work for rich billionaires.
Oh, the
So there is a
climate-
subtle difference between the two countries. Anyway, our next performer. Yes, Chuck, were you going to say something? Sorry.
the climate there. I Kazakhstan the weather.
Oh.
Oh, painful.
That was
Thanks for
Chuck
setting me
Roy.
up, Chuck.
Chuck Roy, ladies and gentlemen, who died today. Our next performer from all the way from Ann Arbor, not to say hunger. Please welcome Ned Rice.
Go ahead, clap it up. It's okay. I'm a little nervous. I'm not used to these Zoom shows. I'm kind of nervous, kind of excited, and I'm not wearing pants. So it's just like a live show for me. So let's move from there. I am sick to death of this pandemic. I've gained so much weight during this pandemic. I have to buy my masks at the big and tall men's shop. That's how fat. I am
big,
so
man.
I am so fat now. My girlfriend has to go across on me. Across. Those days are over. Awful. I'm hoping it's just late onset childhood obesity, but I don't know. I can't stress this enough. I'm not a physician. That's the point. I had a very awful, like many of you, I had an awful childhood. I was very depressed. When I was 4 years old, my mother caught me in my sister's bedroom with my head in her easy bake oven. And she said, "Oh my God, how cute is that? Lou, get the camera, take a picture." Nettie's trying to offer himself just like Grandpa. And like so many depressed people, I got into drugs and alcohol. I got into drugs very young. I was so young. First time I snorted cocaine, I used a silly straw. That's how young I had a Fisher Price bong. I did. I actually had it. So, but it's weird because my background is such that this is actually true. My mother is completely Irish. My father was Native American, and so Irish mother, Native American father. When they got married, I think their plan was to create a master race of genetic super alcoholics, which is what they did. We're pretty bad. A lot of us are pretty bad. I've certainly had my time in that area. I've been sober for 2 years. Just celebrated 2 years.
Yeah.
The applause break.
Chip off the old block. Chip off the old block.
Yeah.
Exactly.
2 year chip off the old block. Give
A
Steven a
2 year chip. Mike, you're helping me a little. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. I decided, it's time to quit drinking, and the judge agreed. He said, "Ned, that's a really good idea. Get your sorry ass out of my jail, and let's do something about that." My drink of choice was vodka cranberries. I drank a lot of vodka cranberries. Just to give you an idea how much cranberry juice I've had over the years, I have never had a urinary tract infection in my entire life. Not even one. It's never happened. And during my drinking career, I used to see those quizzes online or in magazines. Do you have a drinking problem? Take this quiz. It'd be like 10 questions. If you answer yes to 4, maybe 5, probably 6. Yeah. those quizzes are bullshit. If I was writing a "Do you have a drinking problem" quiz, it would go like this. Question number 1: Are you taking this quiz? Yes. Question number 2: Is your last name Kennedy or Winehouse? And that's really all you need. all you need. And then you know. And like so many recovering people, I did hit bottom. At one point, I was living in my car, which a lot of people, have done that. But I actually had a roommate, and which was awful. We'd have these weird conversations like, "Hey, when you make dinner, would you mind cleaning off the dashboard? It's, I like I like a clean house, and I need some money for the parking meter. I need cash. Last week you wrote me a check for 25 cents. It bounced, and tonight I need to use the back seat tonight. A lady friend of mine is coming over. If you don't mind sleeping in the trunk, that'd be great." So yeah, it was a strange time in my life. It actually was, and sometimes we would get into arguments, and I'd say, "Look, this car is my home, and you are a guest in my home, and as long as you're living under my sunroof, you're going to live by my rules." And I think I've gone far enough down this road. Very excited. I finally saw Hamilton. I've been saving and waiting all these years. But again, this is a very, very off Broadway production of Hamilton. It was so far off the Broadway. The entire cast was white, and it didn't make me uncomfortable watching it. So that's how far. And that is my time. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God. That's right. Woo! Fooled him again.
Fooled him again.
Yes, he's lovely. He's lovely. Come on, there's nothing. What can you say about Ned Rice?
That hasn't already been said about Plaster.
Right, or in a pre-sentencing report.
Mike, a good time to say, almost goodbye to the folks at YouTube, but we should tell them about
Yes, we should.
charities
Tell
that
people
we
that
wanted to chat about today.
We sponsor several shows here. One of the things that we like to do is pay a portion of the money that we receive from paying customers, when we have paying customers, to a couple of organizations. One is the one I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that my daughter, who is a lovely human being, performs as a singer and dancer and actress every year in a musical production by a company called Magic Moments. Magic Moments does special needs friendly shows every year, large cast productions where they repurpose music. They have a deal with ASCAP and BMI, so they can use 40 songs that are already for sure great melodies. We rewrite the lyrics, and they have a cast of 160 to 180 people every year. It's a wonderful show. And the special thing about Magic Moments is that they are special needs friendly and so inclusive that every production has between 40 and 60 people with various disabilities in the show, and they're all put in the show in a meaningful way, so they get to fully participate in the show. They aren't just window dressing or trotted out so people can say, "Hey, look, we have a guy in a wheelchair." It's much more inclusive than that. I love it. My daughter loves it. That's why we moved to Denver, so she could participate in this theater group, and it's been great. And also, Chuck, why don't you tell them about the other charity that we
One, I've seen the show that you wrote for Magic Moments, and it was really special and fun to be a part of and watch, and powerful. And doing things like going live on YouTube and talking about charities has helped us talk about elevating connections. We produced their poetry jam this last Saturday and helped them raise more money than they ever have with a poetry jam. It's kids who are separated from their siblings by foster care. And we help them get attention to their cause by teaching them how to go live and talking about it during our shows. We help them sell tickets to the poetry jam, and we help them put on the poetry jam. I ran the Zoom, and the kids did their poetry. And my God, these are the kids who have fallen through the cracks. And The poems were really cool. And the fact that we walked away knowing that from the start of the pandemic, we set out to do this. We wanted to do Zoom comedy shows, and secretly we wanted to be able to prepare and learn how to put on a really cool thing like the Poetry Jam. Was fun, and to find out that we helped them raise more money than they ever have was like a sweet reward. So thanks to everybody watching on the YouTube. Thanks to all the comedians who, let us hype these cool things, and join us next week. You can pick up a ticket and watch the show and help us contribute to these cool charities, and these comedians will make you laugh, and you can join us live. Thanks for watching YouTube, and now on to dirtier jokes.